Hello again, everyone. Vocally crippled Grimith here. I've actually amplified the volume of my microphone to max volume in the hopes that some of you will actually be able to hear me. At any rate, we're going to continue with Operation Night Flight. Oh my god, I know. YouTube registers the last video haven't been uploaded 4 weeks ago. It's been nearly a month. The suspense has been killing 5 of you, I'm sure. My book has been protesting because I've been using a lead pencil as a bookmarker, and obviously the book is unamused. The machine spirits contained within the paperback book are obviously violated. I committed an egregious error, and for that I apologize to all of you. Hopefully the 14 of you who can get over my gravelly voice now will actually be able to appreciate what happens whenever we decide to pepper the potatoes of the Cobra camp. Oh hey, our old friend. Sorry, hopefully that wasn't too loud. Anyway, if we head for Cobra camp, turn to page 17. Let's do it. You step into the C-130's main cargo bay and announce, "This is it. We're going straight into that Cobra camp, dangerous or not." The huge transport begins its approach. Did I just say huge transport? Now it works. The Cobra camp is coming up. Suddenly, your enemies spot you and open fire. Even in the darkness, the C-130 is too big to miss. You hear an explosion, and the plane begins to fill with smoke. It's going to blow. You've got to bail out immediately. You hit the emergency exits. The smoking plane is still moving steadily toward the Cobra camp. You jump out and hit the ground running. Gotta give credit here to Delta for being able to successfully eject from a flying plane. Kudos to him. And we successfully jumped out and hit the ground running. Because if we don't make it to the cover of that forest before the plane explodes, we're dead meat. You and your teammates sprint, and then throw yourselves into the undergrowth of the forest. Then you get the chance to watch a most pleasing sight. The flaming C-130 rolls right up to the Cobra camp. When the fire finally reaches the engines, the whole plane blows up, taking your enemy's camp along with it. You couldn't have asked for anything more, except maybe a jeep. It's going to take you a long time to walk all the way back to the airport. The end. Through your mystical powers, everyone, you actually managed to achieve a good ending here. Well done. I didn't know you all had it in you to succeed until the very end, but you've prevailed. And I congratulate the 5 of you who have been waiting in suspense for forever for discovering the truth. Peppering potatoes is always the way to go. I think at this point we haven't plumbed the entire depths of Operation Night Flight, but I think I'm gonna do that in this video. We'll consider it a special bonus. Let's just cover the rest of the book. I'll give you some time to think about each decision. You can always pause the video before you make it. I think my voice quality is changing over the course of me speaking. Can I actually speak normally? Testing, testing. Grimith? Are you there? I'll see how long I can keep this voice. Oh boy. I feel like I'm fucking undergoing puberty again. Joy to the world, the Lord has come. Alright, so what if we decided to land at the international airport here, folks? In this case, we'd have to turn to page 54. Let's do that. Landing at the airport's going to take precious time, but at least you won't get shot to bits doing it. You request to receive clearance from the Emerald Isle International Airport. Once the plane is on the ground, the team rolls onto the airfield in its 2 armored jeeps, support truck, and backup supplies. It's the holiday season, and even though it's the middle of the night, the airport is jammed with tourists. A man with a clipboard pushes his way through the crowd to you. He says, "My name is Winthrop, customs official. What's in the big box?" Because obviously, the customs official at the Emerald Isle International Airport needs to be an international man. "Read your patriotic prose today, love. Heil Hitler and all that." That's actually a reference to a pretty bad adventure game where the post office master of Nazi Germany, his accent is just like that. "Heil Hitler. You heard about how Hitler's gonna make the world better and all that, love?" It's like, what? I'm serious. Maybe I'll show a clip of the game in action sometime. Alright, so 24 anti-tank missiles, says Gung-Ho proudly. Winthrop checks his list, then says, not allowed. How about that crate?" 2 4-inch mortars with shells. Winthrop shakes his head again and points to another crate. Gung-Ho bends down to read the label. It says, 6-man life raft with foot pump. Winthrop checks over his list and announces happily, "No problem. Everything else has to stay, but you can take the life raft, love." "Mr. Tackhead," says Gung-Ho, stepping up nose to nose with the customs official. "May I have a word with you in private?" A minute later, Gung-Ho returns and announces, "Deep down, Winthrop is a sensible guy. He even gave us a road map." Awesome. I love road maps. That way, I don't have to stop to ask for directions. A few hours of overland travel on backcountry roads, and the G.I. Joe team arrives at the suspected Cobra camp. It's early morning, but it's still dark out. The camp looks more like an old estate than a military base. Lowlight sets up his spotting scope and gives a run-through of the layout, including the old airstrip, the barns and outbuildings, and the manor house. The manor house, he says, that's where the action is. There's a 12-foot stone wall around it, but my scope tells me it's jumping with people, probably Cobra. What about the P-140? Asks Dial Tone. I'm not sure, but Lowlight adjusts the scope for infrared and says, I get a strong reading on the heat sensor. It could be from the jet engines. I've noticed a few things too, said Rock and Roll. For one, have you noticed how awesome my boombox is? I mean, there are sentries every 20 yards along the wall. That first barn looks like the barracks, so there should be plenty of Cobra agents inside. And there's a machine gunner hidden behind that wagon and a missile launcher on the manor roof. Uh-oh. Sorry everyone, that was a pretty bad cough. Right. You decide there are two ways to go about this operation. You can blast your way in with firepower and try to hold Cobra off long enough to grab the stolen plane. Or you can slip in commando style while it's still dark and do the job with trickery and deception. So do we blast our way in or sneak in on tiptoe? Well, we already know the glory of peppering potatoes, everyone. So let's just blast our way in and seize the day. In the night, carpe noctem. Or something Latin-ish. 57. Let's go. Hello, it's me, Mario. Hoo-hoo. You tighten the strap on your helmet and say, "We're going to muscle our way through this." Dial tone, circle behind that machine gunner and blast him. Gung-ho, make a bed check on the barracks and be strict if they're not all asleep. That missile launcher on the roof is just for you, lowlight, and while everyone is having a good time rock and roll, and I will make a neighborly visit and ask to borrow a jet fighter. Adjusting your watch you add will go in 5 minutes. The team moves into position. You and rock and roll coast the jeep down the dark lane that leads to the house. Then low lights rocket streaks through the air. The attack is on. You floor the gas and the jeep spins up the gravel drive. Rollin' rock. Rollin' rock. Really, Grimith? Really? Oh, I do say, that's a great name for him, love. Shut up, Winthrop. Oi! Don't tell me shut up. I'm a customs official around here. I say who shut up and who... Shut up, Winthrop. No, you shut up. You don't know what it's like to have nothing but pasties to eat all day. Alright? I need some variety in my life, you know? Bunch of fucking Yanks. Oh my goodness, I am more delirious than usual today. Oh boy. I think the stress is getting to me. My screen got dark. Laptop, you're not allowed to do that. Stop it. Anyway. Rock and roll coast the jeep down. The dark lane that leads to the house. Oh, I've already said that. The attack is on. You floor the gas and the jeep spins up the gravel drive. Rock and roll fires his mini cannon and rips out of the front gate. You scramble out of the jeep, your weapons blazing. There it is! Shouts rock and roll, pointing to the far end of the courtyard. On your right, a dozen Cobra agents pour through the garden door. You shower them with bullets and send them diving for the bushes. You dash to the plane and climb up into the cockpit. You fire up the engines as rock and roll drops into the monkey seat behind you. Hang on, you shout, heading the plane straight for the main gate. Uh-oh. You've grabbed the P-140. Now if you can only get out of the Cobra camp alive. We'll never make it, rock and roll shouts into your ear. The wingspan is too wide. No problem, you say, aiming the P-140's ultra-tech lasers. They blast out 30 feet of stone wall easily, and the plane passes through the opening without even scratching the wings. Meanwhile, you kick in the plane's afterburner and scream into the air. Your altitude builds fast, but at 5,000 feet you turn 180 degrees and dive back on the manor. With all guns firing, you make a low-level pass and give plenty of cover so your team members can pull out cleanly. Then, banking to the west, you head out over the water. You're about 30 miles offshore when that tick-tick noise becomes obvious. It's not coming from the engine. It's not the radio. It's not the guidance system. Rock and roll reaches under his seat and pulls out a wired time device. The thing is going. Tick, tick, tick. This plane is rigged, he yells, dumping the stuff on the floor. We've got 4 seconds! Eject? Of course not. 3, 2, 1. Boom. The end. So let me get this straight. Cobra brings a stolen P-140 fighter to this base here, and the first thing they do is rig it with explosives. And the explosive device is contained within the plane, right under the monkey seat. Really? 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 Most unfortuitous. So, alright. That didn't work out so well. Let's say we pull a share and turn back time and sneak in on tiptoe instead of blasting our way in. We can do that. We'll stay low and go into that Cobra camp silently, you say to the rest of the team. If all goes well, we won't even have to fire a shot. One by one, the team sneaks along the hedgerow that leads up to the manor wall. You knock out a sentry without a sound, and Gung-Ho gives you a boost up the wall. Quickly, you drop into the flower bed on the other side. Cobra has flowers! Cobra! Dial tone follows a few seconds later. Across the courtyard, the P-140 is parked. It's lit up by work lights, and a Cobra detail is checking it out eagerly. You look around the rest of the compound. It's fairly quiet. A Cobra technician is cutting through the garden on his way to the plane. You motion the dial tone and the two of you slide through the bushes. When the technician passes by, you take him from behind. A second later, he's out cold. You switch into the technician's uniform, pick up his attaché case. Attaché? Attach. We're just gonna call it the A case. It's an A case for an A team like the G.I. Joe. And adjust your hat. Dial tone looks you over. It's not perfect, he says, but it's good enough for you to get in close before you get shot. The real problem is with the trousers, you say with some concern. They're just not my style. Dial tone laughs and says, I'll give you what cover I can. Good luck. Good luck. With confidence and determination, you walk down the garden path in your stolen technician's uniform. You head straight for the P-140. Cobra agents are crawling all over it, checking out every detail. In a group off to the side is the Cobra High Command. It seems that all the big bananas have come out to see their new toy. There's Destro and Zartan, and over to the left is, ooh, baby, Cobra Commander himself. You feel a little warm under the collar, and it's not because it's too tight. But you take a deep breath, pass by the plane, and stride right up to the man himself. Commander, you say crisply, this fighter has everything we hoped it would. It's got the new variable wing tip with improved turning response and a modified exhaust flange that, according to my calculations, will add another 18% to the overall performance. Cobra Commander strokes his fingers eagerly, and as he mumbles something about being very pleased, you step alongside him so that you both have a good view of the sleek fighter. Then shoulder to shoulder, you ask, what do you say, sir? Should we take it for a spin? Cobra Commander wiggles with excitement and answers, oh yes, let's do it. Okay. Alright. 15 minutes later, the plane is ready, and you're helping Cobra Commander into the monkey seat in the cockpit. I'm presuming that they took the 15 minutes to remove the explosives, the wired time device, out of the plane, because you obviously don't want to have that whenever Cobra Commander is going to get in the plane, right? Right. It's a tight fit, sir, you say as he squeezes in, but you'll make it. You adjust the strap, saying, don't want 'em too loose now, do we? Then you drop in behind the controls and buckle up tight. You start the engines. They sound real good. Would you like to control the afterburner on takeoff, sir, you ask. Cobra Commander thinks for a moment, then says, yes, that would be a lot of fun if it's not too dangerous. Oh no, you answer. It's easy. Just reach your hands up alongside my seat and hold on to these handles. That's right, just like that. You slip the handcuffs out of your inner pocket and snap them around his wrists. There, you say. I told you it would be easy. But, he stammers. Now, Mr. Cobra Commander, please behave. You say as you take the plane and your captive into the air. After all, you wouldn't want me to fly all the way home upside down, would you? The end. Wow, everyone. Happy endings for everyone. It's like I gave you all massages. Oh, goodness. I don't remember how far back the last huge branch was. I'm going to have to start from the beginning of the book because, you know, that takes care of that branch. But what if we had stayed on the base? Huh? Let's find out. What if we decided to distrust this situation, our commanding officer, and instead go after that third Cobra operative dude? Man, stuff. That's a pretty specific definition, I know. Okay. 53, 53, 26, 26, 68, 68, ba-da-da, ba-da-da, 31, 84. We're making lots of progress, everyone, I swear. 23. Alright. If you decide to disobey your commanding officer and go after the fake technician, turn to page 49. Yes, sir. Hawk pushes out of his chair in the briefing room. You scan his face. Something's wrong. Hawk's never been so careless with intruders before. Well, you decide you'll just have to make up for his mistake before the whole base pays for it. You're going after the third infiltrator, orders or no orders. I want this team ready to roll in 15 minutes, got that? Hawk says. Then he adds, Thunder, I don't think your talent will be required on this mission. Why don't you sit this one out? With that, Hawk strides out of the room and the other guys break into action. You give Thunder a sign, and a minute later you meet him under the stairs by the generator room. Thunder checks left and right, then says, I've never been yanked from a mission, not for any reason. Hawk's acting weird, I tell you. This thing stinks like last week's lunch. Not last week's lunch. You bet Hawk's acting weird, you say to Thunder. You pull him one step deeper under the shadow of the stairs and continue. When the rest of the team assembles on the staging area, I'm not gonna show. That's breaking orders, man, Thunder says in a hoarse whisper. Not a hoarse whisper, my God. They'll bust you down the polishing parts inside a military prison. You look him in the eye and say, that third Cobra agent is still on base, and the only way he's going to get caught is if we stay here and do it. Are you with me? Up to my neck, Thunder says. But it might take more than the two of us. Who can we trust? Just the two of us. You think for a moment. Breaker and Snake Eyes are good men, teammates you can always count on. But on the other hand, a lot of strange things have been going on at the base. Maybe you shouldn't trust anyone at all. So do we decide to ask Breaker and Snake Eyes to join us and Thunder? Or Thunder and I? Or whatever you want to call this team of us? We will turn to page 75, or if we feel that Thunder and we... If you feel that Thunder and we should trust no one, turn to page 4. You know what the hell? Trust no one. Or turn to page 4. Yeah. Alright. You scuff your boot along the floor. It's gloomy underneath the staircase. You pull Thunder to you and whisper, we can't trust anyone on this. We're after an infiltrator, maybe under a disguise. He might have backup from someone on the base and we can't know who or where. You shake your head and say, on this one, we're on our... Thunder clamps his hand over your mouth, cutting you off. With his eyes, he indicates that someone is coming. Is it the infiltrator? He's on the stairs above you. So far, you haven't been seen. But did he hear you? Does he know what you're up to? If you're lucky, he might walk right past and not even see you under the stairs. But can you take that chance? The door to the generating room is only 5 feet away. With one swift move, you could be out of there. If you don't move, don't breathe, and hope the man on the stairs goes by. Turn to page 7. Or, if you make a dash for the door, turn to page 29. We're going to don't move and don't breathe and hope the man just walks on by. The footstep on the stairs keeps coming, and you suddenly realize there are 3 people, not 1. You and Thunder shrink further back into the shadows under the staircase, pressing flat against the back wall. They reach the bottom step. You can see their boots and part of their uniforms, blue coveralls. A silent sigh of relief slips past your lips. There are a bunch of machinists, probably getting ready to go off duty. The three of them pass right in front of you, no problem. 5 paces down the hall, the last one turns. His face is hidden under a slanted cap. He raises his arm, and you hear 2 rapid puffs of air. Thunder spins to the side as you slump slowly to the floor. Poison darts, and they've hit home. As the poison takes hold, you mumble your last words. Hawk knows you're here. Yes, whispers the Cobra agent. His footsteps fade away. As your mind slips into darkness, you realize you're only the first of many casualties to come. Somehow, Hawk's mind has been turned, and that means the whole base is going down. The end. Good story. That didn't happen, everyone. We're going to make a mad dash for the door instead. True story. Somebody's on the stairs right above you in Thunder. It might be the intruder, or it could just be a mechanic. Either way, you don't want him to see you. It's now or never. You leap across the hall and duck through the door. Thunder is right behind you. The generator room is the perfect place to give that guy the slip. It's huge, full of machinery, crisscrossed with catwalks, and most of the time it's on automatic operation, so there's no one inside to blow the whistle. You and Thunder slide down the stairs, flip over the railing, and drop to a maintenance platform. You check your watch. It's almost 1900 hours. The pursuit team will take off in about 5 minutes. We'll lay low for about 10 minutes, you say. Make sure that no one is on our tail, then we'll start the hunt. Thunder doesn't say anything, but he gives a nod. You can tell by his face that he'd like nothing more than to find the third man and nail him good. Who wants to have sex in this situation? What the fuck is wrong with you, man? It would help to even the score after being ganked off the mission. Above you, the door opens a tiny crack. You grab Thunder by the shoulder and point toward it. I thought you locked that thing. I did, he answers. Bolted it hard enough to keep out King Kong. The door opens wider, and Thunder adds, whoever is coming through there is good at getting into places. Real good. Uh-oh. The door to the generator room opens fully, and you and Thunder hold your breath. A slender man dressed in blue coveralls steps into the room. He pauses for a moment, looking carefully over the entire generating complex. He may look like a regular machinist, Thunder whispers, but don't be fooled. The guy is no bozo. He's a pro. He's had training. You cock your head toward Thunder and say, as it stands right now, we're the only ones on this base that know about this goon. If he takes us out... Thunder wrinkles up his face. He's not going to take us out. It's 2 against 1. We'll knock him out, tie him tight, and waltz him down to Hawk's office. Yeah, right, you say with a lot of disbelief. We better do something smart, because as of right about now, we're down on report as being deserters. You are, Thunder says, pointing a finger. I got pulled from the mission, remember? He sneaks a quick look around the tank and says, our man's coming down the stairs. What do you want to do? Gang up on him? Or split up and be sneaky about it? Shrugging your shoulders, you say, let's split up. At least one of us will get away. Turn to page 42, which will of course be the answer to everything forever. What could possibly go wrong with this? The infiltrator's a pro, and he's coming towards you with Thunder in the generator room. If you and Thunder work separately, you'll have 2 chances to take this guy out instead of only 1. All right, Thunder says. We'll split up. I'll wait for him here. You can find a good spot where you can help out if things get tight. You give Thunder a nod and slip behind an injector coil. Moving slowly and quietly, you work around to the central cooling tower. You can't see the fake machinist anymore. Carefully, you snake your way up through the fins of the tower. About 40 feet up, there's a small metal platform. You squeeze past a mounting plate and onto it. From where you are, Thunder is in plain sight. He holds a 10-inch blade loosely in his left hand. His right hand rests comfortably on his knee. He's about 5'10" with brown hair and blue eyes. And an ample chest. What? He carries a regulation sidearm pistol, but it stays clipped to his leg. In a situation like this where so much is uncertain, silence is best. You slide your rifle into position, resting the barrel over the lip of the platform. Thunder gives you the thumbs up. You flash one in return. Alright, I have too many pages bookmarked with my fingers. Sorry, I gotta readjust my bookmarks. Alright, no, I don't need that bookmarked. Just those two. Page 70, here we go. Your trap is set, with you backing up Thunder. There's no way that Cobra agent is going to slip by you two. He'll leave the generator room either dead or a prisoner. If Thunder does his job well, and you're sure he will, he'll take the infiltrator alive. For intelligence and interrogation purposes, that's the way to go. Across the room, a movement catches your eye. A shadow slides across the floor, then pulls back out of view. The machinist is closing in. You follow him through the sights of your rifle. A moment later, a sharp cry echoes around the room. The machinist attacks, his knife flashing through the air. Thunder leaps to the side and the blade misses him just barely. Then he turns, his own knife gleaming. But his enemy is twisted away and is now in position to deliver a deadly blow. You open fire. The bullets whistle off the metal tank. You are slightly off target, but the machinist, startled by the gunfire, loses his concentration and that saves Thunder's life. Unfortunately, you've lost your man at the same time. He retreats to a lower level, then escapes through a wired exit. The alarm goes off, lights flashing and sirens screaming. This place will be ripe with base security in under a minute, so unless you want to spend the next 20 years of your life answering their questions about why you disobeyed Hawk's orders, you would best get it in gear. Uh-oh. Shit, everyone. What do we do? The intruder has escaped, setting off the generator room's alarm in the process. You don't want to be captured by your own teammates and thrown in jail for deserting, so you get moving. Sliding off the face of the tower, you hit the ground on the go. Thunder is racing along an elevated catwalk. The two of you meet up at the far end of the system. Behind you, a 20-man security detail is fanning out through the generator room. "Through the door!" yells Thunder, but in the confusion it sounds like through the floor. So you rip off a ventilating grate and lower yourself into a return air duct. "Come on," you yell up at him. Thunder looks at you the way he'd look at a piece of moldy cheese, but a second later he's down there with you, sliding the grate back into place. "Delta," he says, grinning from ear to ear. "You're in charge of this show now. I'm not going to say another word about it." "Thunder," you say with authority, "we are in good shape. Very good shape." He looks at you sideways and says, "You're right." "Oh, now hold on, everyone. I always feel like I have 25,000 bookmarks." Alright, I can do this. What page was that? Alright, oh, here we go. I remember. Creeping around an air duct is no Florida vacation, but it's your only chance to escape the security team in the generator room above you. Stooping slightly, you lead Thunder into the ventilating system. Cheerfully, you point out that while not everything has gone entirely your way, at least you had the good fortune to select an air duct of comfortable size. Excuse me. Thunder follows along quietly. He's a few inches taller than you are, and the duct is a tighter fit for him than for you. Besides, he can tell that you've got something in the works. If we can get to the central communications room, it'll be easy to send a phony radio transmission to base security saying I'm actually on board the mission transport plane. You pause to see if Thunder is following all this. Not really, but you go on. That will take some of the heat off of us, and we won't have to spend our time, Thunder continues, sneaking around inside these twisted air ducts. Right, you say. But hold the noise down. We're getting close to central communications. Any little sound could give us away. You close in on your target as silently as two shadows in a ventilation duct. Two shadows in a ventilation duct. They walked into a bar and said, "Hi, we want drinks." Ah, yes, I knew it would come to this. I've forgotten everything in this book, but, I was thinking this path would be this path. And I remembered successfully. But I won't spoil it just yet. You and Thunder sneak through the air duct until the communications room is directly below you. To the slotted vent, you can overhear a muffled conversation. Delta suspected foul play, but we've got him on the run. The security team will probably pick him up soon. Otherwise, everything is going exactly as planned. Thunder turns to you. There's a worried look on his face when he whispers. Doesn't that sound like Hawks talking down there? Pressing your face hard against the vent, you can make out Hawk in a second figure. It looks like the fake machinist, if you could only see for certain. But as you maneuver for a better view, your belt buckle scrapes the metal vent. Your eyes meet Hawk's through the air duct. There's a glazed, zombie-like look to Hawk, as if he's been the victim of some weird mind control experiment. But in spite of that, Hawk reacts with lightning-quick reflexes. He leaps into the air, his powerful kick ripping down the air duct. You, Thunder, and everything else up there comes crashing to the room in a tangled mess. Like fucking whoopah! Buried in debris, you're helpless. In a few blinks of the eye, it's all over. You never found out who that Cobra agent was, but with Hawk under his control, the guy is unstoppable. Well, at least you won't be around to watch him glow. The end. Alright, everyone. Let's do it 2-on-1. I like those odds. What if we had just teamed up together immediately and tried to take out the machinist? I can remove one of my bookmarks now. Yay. It's a good thing I have big fingers. No doubt about it, this infiltrator is a tough character, but so are you and Thunder. You peer around the edge of the invasion tank, only to find that your man has disappeared. Suddenly, the entire room goes black. The intruder has cut the power. Ooh, baby. Speaking of ooh, baby, my fucking computer was like, oh, it's nighttime. Or nap time, whatever. Ooh, baby, says Thunder, his tone suddenly charged with excitement. This is going to be fun, but don't let him get close or we're done for. Something moves over on the right. Ghost at 4 o'clock, you whisper. Thunder rolls to a better position. A spiked disc streaks through the air, cuts into the tank just above your head. You see your man now. Two quick bursts of your rifle and he dives away. And right into Thunder. You can hear them scuffling in the darkness. You make a leap for them, yelling, Thunder! As you land. Yo, pants one of the struggling figures. Now that you know which fighter is your buddy, you light into the other guy. You're fighting blind, but you're fighting well. You throw a left punch, then your steel hard right. KO! The Cobra agent is down for the count. As you snap the handcuffs on him, you say, he's going to make a beautiful prisoner. And a wonderful bitch. Alright, everyone. Yay! Of course, if you've been paying attention to all these bad endings, you know that some of these endings aren't really uncovering the greater threat of Hawk actually being a Cobra agent. Or a zombie. Or a chaos demon. You can never be too sure. Quick! Call the Inquisition! Ordo Hereticus! They must be summoned. Burn the heretic! Burn! Heresy? So let's decide to ask Breaker and Snake Eyes to join us and Thunder. Alright, everyone. Woohoo! Get some help. With all the bizarre things that have been going on at the base tonight, it's crazy to trust anyone. But you've got to if you want to stop the Cobra agent. You've decided. Thunder will pull Breaker off whatever radio he's working. You'll get to Snake Eyes, and the 4 of you will hook up in the back room of the maintenance aircraft hangar. 15 minutes later, everybody shows. Outside the hangar, a C-130 transport winds at the full power. On board is the mission pursuit team. Inside, your own show takes off. Third infiltrator is still on the base, making trouble around here, you announce. And we're the only ones who seem to know or care. Someone's helping that guy. Oh, excuse me. I wouldn't be surprised, says Breaker. Every time I fix one communications problem... Uh-oh. Yes, every time I fix one communications problem, uh-oh. It seemed as if someone would flip a switch and mess it back up. That's our man's work, you say, tapping on a workbench. He's got good papers, security clearance, one or more disguises. Your voice trails off. How can you find him? By the way, I just want to note that at times Delta can apparently be an incredibly intelligent man, capable of plotting many things in the name of glorious G.I. Joe. I'm just saying, it's not what we saw on the first 10 decisions. Just saying. Snake Eyes is deep in thought. He's the best martial artist on the G.I. Joe team. His fighting technique is devastating, perhaps because he knows how to figure out exactly what his opponent is thinking. Slowly, a plan begins to form in your mind. Alright, plans, good times. Plans that lead us to bad decisions, I'm totally all for this. You and your buddies huddle together inside the maintenance hangar, and you spill your plan. Somewhere out there is the Cobra agent you're trying to stop, a sneaky snake if there ever was one. It's an even bet, you say, that our infiltrator is not acting entirely on his own. He's getting orders from somewhere. If we slip him some orders of our own... The silent Snake Eyes smiles. I get it, Thunder says. You want to trick him into stepping out where we can see him. The radio signals are all fouled up, you go on. If we send a screwy message with a few accurate details, considering the state of confusion around here, only one person will be able to make any sense of it. And that's the third man. I love it, Breaker says. He digs into his canvas bag and pulls out a little black box covered in wires. This portable radio device ought to do us solid. You check your watch. It's 1937 hours. 7:37. You look over to Breaker and say, whatever garbage you send on that thing, tell our man to make his move at exactly 1947. Breaker nods his head and sets to work. Breaker sends out the fake radio message to try to trap the Cobra agent. Then you just wait. Everyone's eyes are on the clock. At 1946.5 hours, the public address system pops to life. Attention all base personnel. Immediate mobilization now in effect. Report to the staging area. This is not a drill. All air crews ready on the transport planes. Transport planes only. Obviously, Breaker's message set something big in motion. But now you're wondering if this is really what you were meant to accomplish. It's a bug out, says Breaker. The whole camp is pulling out. But they're leaving 64 of the best fighter planes just sitting on the ground, says Thunder. It's crazy. You run over to the side door of the hangar and peer out. The others follow behind. One by one you can see the heavy planes lift into the air. The last one turns onto the strip. Just as it begins its run, the escape door opens. 3 figures drop to the ground and roll. You found your intruder and 2 more to boot. From this distance, neither you, Breaker, nor Thunder can make them out in the darkness. But Snake Eye stiffens at the sight. His martial arts training has given him amazing inner radar. I don't know what that has to do with incredible sight, but amazing inner radar, right. A quiet hiss escaped from between his teeth. The enemy is in view. Continuing to flip. You've lured your Cobra agent and 2 helpers into the open. Unaware that you're watching them, they're completely open for attack. Snake Eyes is ready. Blending with the night, he closes in on his prey. The rest of you fan out behind him, slowly working your way across the field. Your targets don't even try to hide. They're busy setting up some equipment. The wind has died down. Everything is quiet. The ground crunches beneath your boots. Over on your left, Breaker takes out his night vision scope. After a quick look at it, he tries to signal you about something, but all at once your enemies spot you. Across the airstrip, someone opens fire. You flatten yourself to the ground and give it right back. Thunder sets up his rifle-powered grenades. He fires one off. It lands 10 yards shy, but at least it's got your enemy scattered. As he sets up the next one, a dozen explosions rip up the ground. "They've wired into the minefield!" shouts Breaker. Another line of explosions blast across the field. You do a quick calculations of the mines that have gone off. 17. By your records, that's all that were planted, but are you sure? "You're certain there were 17 mines and no more? Go get 'em! Turn to page 74. 17 mines, 22, who remembers? Fall back for some heavy machinery and turn to page 5. "Well, fuck it! I know how to count! I know how to do basic math! All of my videos have proved this! Go father, G.I. Joe!" You call out to your teammates. The mines have all blown. There's nothing left to fear. You leap to your feet yelling, "Let's go get 'em!" Thunder and Breaker sprint in on your left. Snake Eyes closes in from the right. The 3 commandos are in a panic, running back across the strip. Their automatic fire rips through the air, but you're not worried. There's only one thing on your mind, and that's running straight ahead at full speed. You scramble over craters that have been blown in the frozen ground. Your rifle fire is crazy and wild, each burst flashing out through the night. You're concentrating so hard that you barely know when the next explosion hits. It seems to happen in slow motion. The ground lifts up around you, carrying you into the air. It's there that you feel the impact of the blast. Your final thought is that you had counted those mines wrong. Only 16 had gone off, and now the last mine has been detonated. The end. Well, fall back for some heavy machinery. Fuck that shit. Boo. We can't get to those infiltrators with that minefield in the way, you call out to your buddies. I'm bringing out the big stuff, the heavy machinery. Thunder gives you the high sign. That's an HIGH sign. He gives you the... So what, does he like purse, his index finger and thumb together and put it to his lips or something, or what? It is an international mystery, I'm sure. Or a local mystery. Depends on where you're from. Thunder gives you the high sign and pumps another grenade into the air. You're already on the run down the strip, then up between hangars 3 and 4 to the vehicle compound. The sign above the door reads restricted access beyond this point. After 2 quick bursts from your rifle, that door is swinging on a hinge. Inside are all the armored vehicles that didn't get taken when the G.I. Joe team pulled off the base. You've got your pick of the best. You leap up onto a well-used T-12 tank. You pop open the top and are about to drop in when you see 2 hairy legs and combat boots propped up against the seat. Pointing your rifle into the hole, you say, "Come out easy, pal." The boots shift a bit. You hear a raspy kind of snore. You wait a few seconds, then look inside. You don't believe it. "Leatherneck," you yell. "Wake up!" 212 pounds of swamp-bred Marine stumbles into view. "Put your helmet right side around," you say, "and get ready for action. When I give you the signal, I want you to shoot at the bad guys. Are you awake yet?" Turn to page 55. "I'm turning. Yes, indeed, I'm turning. Just look at me, I'm turning. Greatest thing you've seen. Doot, 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 doot." You and Leatherneck get into the T-12 tank and prepare to do some heavy shooting. You fire up the 900 horsepower diesel engine. The oil pressure's up, the hydraulics feel good. You slip into gear and whip out the door. The sporadic gunfire you hear tells you the fight is still on. With the infrared scope, you can see that the 3 infiltrators have taken up positions by the observation tower. You call the coordinates to Leatherneck and tell him to shoot. In a few seconds, these guys will be no more. But the guns stay quiet. "What's the problem back there?" you shout. "I put the scope on magnification," answers Leatherneck, and one of the 3 looks like Hawk. "Impossible," you say. You snap on the scope and focus. The hazy image turns crisp. You can't deny it because you're seeing it with your own eyes. Your commanding officer is lining up a mortar aimed right at you. Oh, you've got some serious evasive action to do. You cut the T-12 hard right. A second and a half later, the shell hits, just 10 yards away. With Hawk there, you can't fire back. What should you do? This is like nothing you've ever read about in any training manual. Turn to page 52. You can't believe it. You've got this gorgeous little tank, but you can't use your heavy weapons because one of your enemies just happens to be your commanding officer. Pro tip, if my commanding officer starts shooting a fucking mortar at me, he is no longer my commanding officer. Not to mention the fact that we have disobeyed a direct order. I'm just saying. You can, however, hold off their automatic fire by using your lighter guns. Leatherneck does just that as you roll toward Hawk and the two others. At 35 yards, you flick on the high-intensity spotlight and turn night into day. Backed up against the fence, you've got those three trapped. You pull the T-12 to a stop as Leatherneck pins them in his gun's front sight. Slowly, you climb down from your tank, aiming your weapon at Hawk as you do. You feel a little sick. Your commanding officer has turned traitor. You don't understand it. Hawk takes a few steps forward. With a clear, strong voice, he says, "The whole base got suckered by this scam. 246 military personnel. Right now they're over Manitoba, flying around in circles, bamboozled to the hilt." He chuckles, then goes on. "But you didn't fall for it, Delta. The three of us are here, caught under your big guns. You did good, Delta. You used your head." He pauses for a moment and says, "But you lost. You lost it all." You look Hawk straight in the eye and say, "Considering the fact that within 48 hours you'll be belly up to a military tribunal, I think you'd best reconsider who won and who lost, sir." You take a deep breath. But there is still one thing you have to know, so you ask, "Why'd you do it, sir?" His answer is quick. "Like everyone else, I followed orders." He raises his hands up around his neck. Your trigger finger tenses. His fingernails scratch into his skin. And all at once, he pulls off the mask of plastic flesh, and a woman's voice, cool and smooth, says, "Cobra Counterintelligence Officer, code name Zorana, present and accounted for." Her eyes sparkle in the harsh glare of the spotlight. "As I was saying, you and Mr. Neckbone and all the other clowns you call your buddies have lost it all. Communications equipment, intelligence files, munitions, planes, spare parts." Her arm waves over the entire base. "With only a handful of defenders," she continues, "what is to prevent a Cobra assault team from landing on this base and cleaning it out?" Your stomach turns over. So the stolen fighter and the pursuit team and the bug-out was all a scam. You look up the Leatherneck. His guns are pointing right at Zorana. Zorana has revealed herself, but why did she do it when you and Leatherneck both have guns on her? She must be up to something sneaky. Leatherneck doesn't seem to realize that. He yells, "This fight isn't over yet! Delta, pull the rest of our outfit together and work the defenses! I'll lock up these three," and his voice trails off. The high-intensity spotlight swings over the field. "Blast," he says. "Where's the third one?" Barely visible 300 yards away, a shadow slips between two of the fighters. You leave Zorana under Leatherneck's gun and tear out at top speed. You're halfway to the planes when he spots you. A second later, he's headed for the main hangar. You cut around the building and come up on the side just in time to see the doors swing shut. Your heart is pounding. You can barely breathe. Stay cool, you think. There's no way you can get out. You enter the building. The lights are running on emergency power. They cast a dim glow over the whole complex. Your eyes adjust to the light. Your man is standing right in front of you. It's a point-blank shot. But a hand from behind gently pushes your rifle aside. Snake Eyes steps into view. This will be his fight. He has an old score to settle with the Cobra assassin Storm Shadow. Dun dun dun. Snake Eyes wants to fight Storm Shadow without your help. But you can understand. Storm Shadow had once been his martial arts teacher. Snake Eyes took it as a personal insult when Storm Shadow switched over to Cobra's side.
You watch as Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow close to within a pace of each other, their eyes locked in combat. Each knows that the other is within a single breath of death. There is no trace of fear. A battle cry echoes through the hangar, and Storm Shadow attacks. Snake Eyes snaps a kick, then spins around, punching. Storm Shadow's right hand flies up and a blade whips into view, but Snake Eyes whips around and catches Storm Shadow with a powerful knee drive. The polished blade flips into the air. Snake Eyes leaps over his stunned opponent and catches it. But just as Snake Eyes is about to deliver the fatal blow, a massive roar thunders across the base. The Cobra Assault Team is hit. In the split second of confusion, Storm Shadow escapes. There's nothing you can do here, so you might as well get into the fight. But what are you going to use for weapons? You'll have to get something heavy. What will it be? A P-140 fighter or an armored T-12 tank? You're a pilot. Get off the ground. Turn to page 58. Or take the T-12 tank. It's one nasty machine. Well, we're going to be a pilot. Get off the ground, everyone, because that's obviously the best decision. Quick, before they destroy all the planes. Nose, we gotta take off. Cobras come to the G.I. Joe base in all their awesome power, and you and a handful of your buddies are the only ones left to defend it. You hustle out of the hangar and race for the nearest P-140 fighter. Sliding under the fuselage, you kick out the wheeled chocks, then tear off the intake covers and climb into the plane. From the other end of the strip, you hear a lot of small arms fire. A couple of Cobra choppers are landing by the control tower. Overhead, you can hear some big planes, but against the night sky, you can't pick them out. You light up the P-140's engines. All systems check. You turn onto the runway and taxi out. The turbines howl as you accelerate down the strip. You're just about to pull the plane into the air when a Cobra fighter descends on your path. He's gonna land dead ahead of you. You can't turn to avoid him. You'll lose airspeed and crash. You've got only one choice. You use your lasers on him. You aim and fire and the Cobra fighter explodes. You get your plane off into the runway. You get the plane off the runway and into the air before you crash into any of the debris. As you accelerate and climb fast, the shock waves from the blast shake your plane. Alright, we use some laser pew-pew, everyone. Nothing can stop us now. We are Freddie Mercury. It feels good to be in the air. You just wish the odds of the battle on the base were a little better for you. On the ground below you, the flashes from the big guns show that your teammates are doing everything they can to hold off the attack. It's not going to be easy, though. A fast check of your radar shows a full airborne Cobra Assault Division approaching from the north. There's nothing else to do but try to knock out as many Cobra personnel as possible before their assault team lands. You spot 2 Cobra fighters to your right. You lock your guns onto the first one and fire. An explosion lights up the sky as the plane blows up. Calmly, you aim for the second plane. There's a second explosion. Targets destroyed. That took only 45 seconds, but in that time, the Cobra Assault Team has landed. They light up the base like a circus. Step right up, everyone, boys and girls, children of all ages, and see the amazing light show from the Cobra Assault Team. Can I get an amen? You count 4 heavy transports plus 5. Oh my god, I forgot I left TeamSpeak on. That's gonna be great. Hold. Now that we had that moment where Jeff got a laugh. That took only 45 seconds, but in that time the Cobra Assault Team has landed. They light up the base like a circus. You count 4 heavy transports plus fighters, choppers, and a few hundred infantry. There's no sign of any of your teammates. Zarana was right. The whole place has been overrun. You check your weapon storage. Missiles, 0. Bombs, 0. The only thing you have left is 162 rounds for the 30mm guns. Well, what happened to the lasers? What happened to the lasers? Come on, man. The situation is hopeless, but you're not quite finished yet. You'll go in on a low-altitude strafing run and simply do as much damage as you can. Oh, crap. I let my finger slip out of my bookmark. Oh, there's no reason I was keeping a bookmark, everyone. Nose. Nose. No reasons. No raisins. Why would you think that? No raisins. Where is it? This is important enough to interrupt the flow of the story. Okay, that page. 86. As I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted. Alone, you're no match for a full-fledged Cobra attack, but in your P-140 you can still make things difficult for them. You drop down to 300 feet and head for the Cobra air transports. They're on the ground, lined up neatly in 2 rows. You let your wing guns rip. You nail number 1, then number 2. But that's all you can get off before another Cobra before another Cobra land unit fills the air with anti-aircraft shells. One of them creases your left wing. The whole plane shakes wildly, and the wing shears clean off. You have no control. You're going down. The fuselage slams onto the runway. Maybe there's an explosion. You don't know. You go skidding down the strip. Metal sparks flying out behind you. Off in the weeds, you finally plow to a stop. A Cobra medical team pulls you from the wreckage. You're too out of it to hear their voices clearly. All you can see are bright lights. You black out as they carry you off. When you're coming to again, you're staring into the face of a Cobra nurse, who immediately injects you with a heavy dose of true serum. Within a few seconds, you're spilling everything you ever learned about G.I. Joe operations. You feel like a traitor, but you just can't stop yourself. With the information you're giving Cobra right now, they're going to be unstoppable too. The end! Yay! Pro tip, don't play to your strengths, everyone. That's why you should always rush in like a fool, even whenever it seems like you should be stealthy, and then whenever it seems like you should rush in, you should be stealthy. There you go, the end. Not yet. Now it's time for us to take the T-12 tank. It's one nasty machine, folks. Okay. Come on, Snake Eyes, you yell. Storm Shadow's gone, and we've got a small Cobra battalion to fight off. Let's grab a tank.
Sorry about that, folks. That was a greater disturbance in the force, and sometimes messages need to be conveyed. But on the bright side, I had the time to brush my teeth. So, I have a dazzling smile. So where was I? I guess I'll start from the top. Come on, Snake Eyes, you yell. Storm Shadow's gone, and we've got a small Cobra battalion to fight off. Let's grab a tank. We can polish off your honor later. Snake Eyes slips the knife under his belt, and the two of you run to the hangar exit. The sky is full of Cobra paratroopers landing near the runway, choppers over the control tower, and who knows what else. Down the field, Leatherneck and Thunder are shooting fast and furious. You can't tell what they're aiming for, but things are so thick, they're bound to hit something. Snake Eyes touches your shoulder, then points across the lot. On the other side of a refueling truck is a G-12 tank that you can only hope is ready to roll. The two of you make a run for it. Snake Eyes gets there first and claims the driver's seat. He fires at the tank and slaps it into gear. He's already rolling as you climb aboard. Are you qualified to run one of those things, you ask? Snake Eyes twists the tank turret 40 degrees to the left and fires the forward gun. Half a mile away, the main rotor of a Cobra chopper gets clipped right off. No more answers needed. You climb behind the 4 cannons, drop into the tail gunner's seat, and strap in. Now that you and Snake Eyes have grabbed the tank, what are you going to do with it? All over the airbase, things are happening so fast that you don't know what to shoot at first. The first wing of the Cobra assault has landed at the north end of the field. Paratroopers are settling down all over. And how they got tanks in here, who knows, but 2 of them are coming down the field. To no one in particular, you say, "They've got us outmanned and outgunned, but this G.I. Joe outfit is not yet outclassed." You get on the radio and call out, "Breaker, my man, where are you?" "What up, dog?" The silence that follows is interrupted by a 12-inch shell landing 10 yards off. "Come on, Breaker," you repeat. "I know you're listening with something out there, even if it's a bowling pin with a rabbit ear antenna." "Yeah, Delta, what you got there for me?"
Well, Breaker, if you haven't noticed, we're being overrun by a division or two of airborne Cobra, and at this rate will last for another 3 to 4 minutes. So wire up that radio of yours. You've got to get all the G.I. Joe personnel who pulled out of here back to the base and tell them to come in shooting. That's a Captain Delton. I'll get to it right away. Why the hell could he not have thought of this on his own? I'm just saying. Delta's intellect is apparently a godsend in this world. That's kind of terrifying. While Breaker is radioing in the main bulk of the G.I. Joe team, you turn your attention and your cannons to the 2 Cobra tanks. You aim and shoot twice. Your fire is right on target. You catch the 2 approaching Cobra tanks just right and flip them into the air. The rest of the Cobra assault group is advancing toward the control tower. We've got to hold them off, you call it, the Snake Eyes. If they move up any farther, there won't be enough clear runway for our guys to land on. Leatherneck is moving up the flank in another T-12. Thunder has taken over a self-propelled howitzer. In your headset, a message comes over from Breaker. I got through to our boys. They should be here in about 17 minutes. That long, you ask, will never last. Even against the steady pounding of your guns, the Cobra column is advancing over the base. There are just too many of them. Snake Eyes, you say, thinking out loud, we need something slick. We need something that'll really shake 'em up. You whip around to the seat. I've got it! Special delivery, Snake Eyes! Turn this buggy around! You click on the radio and call out, Thunder, Leatherneck, get ready to fire on some moving targets. Breaker, meet me by the fuel dump. This is gonna be a real show. Alright, I'm all for real shows and choose-your-own-adventure books. This sounds exciting. Almost. Riveting. Possibly. Has potential. Can 5 guys really hold off a full-fledged Cobra attack for 17 minutes? Well, considering their prices, I think it's possible that even 5 guys can hold off Cobra. $4.50 for a hamburger, or whatever they charge. I don't remember. I think the 5 guys that opened around here just 3 years ago closed down recently. It was a novelty, and I certainly do think their food tastes good, particularly I really love their fries, but it's a little too pricey for a client, for the average customer around here, particularly rather when it's located right next to Walmart, Wally World. That's not exactly the location where folks go to spend a lot of money on things. I mean, just saying. Might want to put in a better spot. In terms of attracting attention, its location is good, but the amount of people who go there to buy things, I really haven't seen any crowds in the place. Not since it opened. None of you care. Why? Why? Of the 4 people who are still watching at this point, none of you care. Let's move on. You think it's possible. According to your plan, Snake Eyes snaps the T-12 around and heads for the fuel depot. As you roll past it, you leap out and head for the parked tank truckers. 3 of them are fully loaded with 5,000 gallons each of aviation fuel. Breaker pulls up at a Jeep. As you climb up into the cab of the first fuel truck, you say, take that one, it's holding a lot. Breaker swings up behind the wheel as you back out onto the strip. The Cobra line is half a mile away. You floor the gas pedal, doing 72. Breaker drives up alongside you. The 2 of you are dead on course, heading right for the main Cobra unit. You give him the thumbs up, jam the gas pedal with a tire iron, and leap out the door. You're still tumbling down the strip when Thunder and Leatherneck fire their rockets at the 2 trucks. The trucks explode, spreading a line of oily black fire between the runway and the Cobra assault group. You call out the Breaker. That should hold them, don't you think? Yeah, he answers, as long as the flames keep burning. You look overhead to the eastern part of the sky. Still no sign of the returning G.I. Joe team. Oh, what's gonna happen, everyone? The oily fire keeps the Cobra assault team away from the runway for a while, but nothing burns forever. After the initial confusion, the Cobra troops pull around to the other side of the flames and begin to come towards you again. You've got no tank to protect you from the Cobra guns, just a few sandbags. Snake Eyes manage to set up. Your 3 other buddies do what they can to cover you with the tanks they're driving. But the Cobra troops keep advancing through the haze. Your backs are to the wall. Firing off heavy round after heavy round, you do what you can, but you can't stop them. Thunder loads up another rack of 6-inch shells, and the pounding goes on. The solid roar of the guns is so loud that you don't hear the planes coming. But all at once, there they are! The U.S. Army transports touch down just in front of the Cobra line. The rear Army doors of the transports open, and 300 U.S. Army fighters come charging out. Thunder looks over to you and snaps his fingers, saying, "And the tables turn just like that." You slide your helmet off and slump against the sandbags. Leatherneck's tank pulls up alongside and he yells, "We did it! This sad little outfit saved an entire air base." You grin. Leatherneck, my friend, I never doubted it for a minute. The end. Fittingly, that is the final page in the book. Like, literally, it is page 88. It's the final page in the book, other than a page for you to rip out so you can order more Find Your Fate books. That ending's a little silly to me, because if all G.I. Joe really brought whenever they flew out were the transport planes, shouldn't that mean that Cobra still has air superiority over the base? Shouldn't they have gone after these transport planes as they were approaching and, I don't know, shot them down? But again, no one ever said Cobra was too bright, right? Alright, everyone. My throat is crying out for release, and, oh, man. I think that's enough for me for a very long time. But at least we finished Operation Night Flight, everyone. I was originally considering, whenever I started doing this last month, I wanted to share one G.I. Joe book. I wanted to share one of my Goosebumps books. And then I was thinking about doing some of that thing I talked about, that Death Even 13 mentioned to me. But I don't remember any of the names. The Lone Wolf stuff. There we go. But we'll see. Free time and energy are luxuries as of late. Again, I apologize for the quality of my voice to the two people who struggled to last to this point, because you all were desperate for me and could not live without me. And I thank you all very much for coming along on this joyride. The comments about what we should do were definitely entertaining, and it was a fun interactive experience together, except for this final video, which was just over 70 minutes of me reading in this voice. And a few others, governor, but primarily this voice. Do good deeds, everyone, because God help you if you don't. You'll have to answer to me. And you will not like that. It will not be pleasurable. I'm just saying. I might choke slam you. I choke slam trains and puppies on a regular basis. Especially puppies. But the puppy kind of likes being choke slammed. It's really awkward. Maybe you will too. I don't know. We'll see.